How to fix the 3 most common mistakes with the lead hook. 1, 2, pivot, push off that back foot. Hiya, my name's Glenn Holmes. I'm the co-owner of the Box and Burn Academy, which is the world's #1 boxing fitness certification course. I'm also the founding trainer here at Box and Burn in Los Angeles. All right, so the #1 common mistake that I find with the lead hook, especially with beginners and people still practicing the technique on the hook, is a really awkward punch, but the key is to lift the elbow. A common mistake is keeping the elbow tucked, so people will throw the hook like this and the elbow will be kind of stuck right here. Now, a few things that are problematic with this is when that punch lands, it's pretty much just a hand punch. There's no real like power or support behind it. And a lot of people that are still getting used to this punch, they'll complain of like wrist being tweaked or off or like sprained or whatever. And the reason being because there's nothing behind that fist. So if you're making contact or impact with a heavy bag or a mitt or a head or whatever, there's nothing behind it. As soon as we lift the elbow into this position around shoulder height, all of a sudden this shoulder and all the muscle groups in that shoulder and the back as well are supporting the fist. So you're way more solid of a contact. Now, not only is that safer, but it's also going to allow for more power, right? So every time I'm coaching this hook, I always kind of keep my eye on that elbow. With a beginner, I tend to have them throw the hook after the 1-2 because it allows them to get in a good position. So if we throw the 1-2 hook, 1-2 hook, what I'm looking at when I catch that hook is to see that elbow position. I just want to see it in line with the shoulder right here. I don't want to see it all the way up here, but I just want to make sure it's not tucked like this. And 9 times out of 10, I can feel if that elbow is not in the right position without really seeing it, just by the sound and feel of the punch. So if we do the 1-2 hook and keep the elbow tucked in and we do that, we have that mistake, right? You can hear that, it's soft, right? It's not solid. Now if we lift the elbow and tighten that fist up, straight away you can hear that on camera, I'm sure, that the impact and the power behind the punch. Now 1-2 hook, good, nice. So the common mistake #1 is the elbow staying too tucked, and some people tend to lift it too high thinking they have to get it right up there, but they don't. The perfect position for that hook, the elbow on that hook, is right there at shoulder height, and I guarantee you if you concentrate on that position, your hook's going to be way more solid. So common mistake #1, elbow being tucked in. The way we fix that is just making sure it's at shoulder height every time we catch that punch. The second most common mistake I see with the lead hook is that people might be rotating great, they might be turning the shoulder, the hip, the foot, even shifting the weight back, the arms in the perfect position, the fist landing. But one thing that I see quite a lot of is the lead foot gets stuck. So if she shows the hook right there, the foot's not doing the work, right? So you're getting about 60-70% of the full effect of the punch right there, and it's stuck. So what we need to concentrate on to fix this is just kind of screwing that foot into the ground and just making sure the heel comes up. And a common mistake with that as well is as soon as you drill that, some people might overdo it and get the foot right up onto the toe like that, where then everything becomes noodly and loose, right? This needs to be solid. So the heel needs to come up, she needs to pivot the foot, but hold it, right? Now this still needs to be solid right here. That's the base for the punch. Right? If that's loose and noodly, then she's off balance and there's nothing solid about the punch. There's no power behind it, right? So we're going to take the 1-2 hook again, and I just want you to freeze on the hook and just kind of think about screwing the foot into the floor. That's the key, is really grip with the ball of the foot and screw it into the ground when you throw the shot. 1-2 hook. Good, that's perfect right there. Everything's nice and solid and the foot is screwed into the ground. 1-2 hook. Good. What the purpose of that is, if she doesn't turn the foot, so it's stuck, she can kind of half turn a little bit, but it's stopping the full rotation of the hip and the shift of the weight to the back foot. Especially if you're doing it fast, it's hard to do that fast without your feet going as well. As soon as the foot goes with the shoulder and the hip and the fist, if all that's in one, then boom, everything's timed together and you've got the whole body weight behind the punch, and that's the key to getting maximum power. And from a fitness standpoint, that's how you're gonna get the most benefit out of throwing this punch, is using the full body, right? So that's what we're trying to do here. So 1-2 hook, and we're out of my peripheral vision when I'm catching this, I'm just gonna kind of keep a close eye on that lead foot to make sure it's turning with the punch. 1-2 hook. Good, I just kind of look down as I catch the punch. 1-2 hook. Yep, good, again. Good, now don't turn the foot. This time I'm gonna catch it with my vision and correct it, right? So 1-2 hook. Good, see? All right, this time turn the foot. 1-2 hook, screw that foot into the floor. Yep, good. And a good cue for that is to tell them to screw the foot into the ground. Rather than telling them to lift anything, We don't want to be lifting anything. It's a bad cue. If we say lift the heel, you'll see people try and do this a little bit, it kind of lifts the body. Yeah, the heel is lifting, but if we tell them to screw into the ground, boom, that's how we're going to get that solid rotation in the foot and that pivot effect that we want. So common mistake number 2, the foot not doing the work that it should to get the maximum power and effectivity of the punch, right? And that's how we can correct that one. All right, before we get to number 3, probably the most common mistake that we see with that lead hook, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. If you have any questions about the hook or anything, boxing, fitness, Mittwork, all that good stuff, leave them in the comments below. Any video requests as well, leave them in the comments. I'll get right back to you. Okay, so number 3, the most common mistake that I see with the hook is not landing the fist in the correct position and turning the punch into a slap. So that's gonna kind of look like this. We're catching the inside of the glove right here and almost like finding the fingertips and the palm, which is not what we want at all. There's not gonna be any power in that. It's also an illegal punch that you can get warned for in amateur boxing and professional boxing. So yeah, just trying to avoid that slap. Mechanics, the shoulder, the hip, the foot might all be great. You might see a boxer fully rotating, but just watch out for that and you can hear it. It's kind of a slappy sound. It's not a deep, heavy sound. As soon as we get the knuckles on the punch, boom, totally different sound. So that's how we can correct that. If you feel like, oh, they look great, oh yeah, but as soon as you hear that sound, you can feel it as a coach, whether the knuckles have landed perfectly in the middle of the mitt or not. So that's how we can correct that. Now, in terms of the perfect position to cure that, what we want to try and aim for is the top part of the glove. Every single punch in boxing should be looking to land those 2 front knuckles right in the center of the pad, right? That's as accurate as we can get, is the 2 front knuckles right in the middle of the pad. So for the hook, now there's 2 ways to do that with the hook. It requires wrist rotation, right? So from the face, the punch comes from the face every time. You can land the 2 front knuckles over like that, where it's nice and flat and plush, where the knuckles are landing on the pad like I just showed you, right? You see that? Or you can also throw that punch with the thumb up too. Both are perfectly good versions of the lead hook, but the same thing that's happening is the knuckles are landing each time, whether it's thumb up or thumb down, the knuckles are landing flat right in the middle of the pad or the heavy bag or the head, right? So that's what we're trying to look for with this. So we're just trying to avoid that slap with the inside of the fist, okay? So 1-2 hook, and I just want you to concentrate on landing your 2 front knuckles right in the middle. That's the cue I'm gonna give to try and correct that slap. 1-2 hook. Good. Now it's up to the boxer if they feel more comfortable with the thumb up top, or if they want to turn it over for a little bit more power and a little bit more intensity, they can. So this time you turn it over and turn the thumb into you. 1-2 hook. Yeah, good. 1-2 hook. Good. Perfect. You feel the difference in the power too, right? So there's the way that we can cure that slap, is just making sure that your boxer is rotating the fist into the punch. And again, that final position can be thumb down or thumb up. As long as those 2 front knuckles are landing solid, we've got a good lead hook and we're avoiding that slap. So there's number 3. Probably the most common mistake we see with the hook, it gets slappy, so try and avoid that as well. The other bad thing about the slap is it's a lot of flexion in the wrist too, so a really high risk for injury as well. As soon as that fist's on it, the fist tight, everything's solid, way less risk for injury, higher power, everything that we want in boxing. So there's your 3 most common mistakes with the lead hook and how to fix them.